Hi everyone, this is Jiin, and I actually try to record it with my face on the top, but for some reason if I turn on the camera it doesn't allow me to record my voice, so I'm taking this video once again. And today I want to go over the weekly practice goal from week 6 to week 10. So starting off week 6, my goal was creating a class where students can freely question and answer each other. So there was a little bit of struggle in week 6 where I asked questions to students, but they had a hard time answering because they were too shy or were scared of getting it wrong. So even more so because compared to the last lab week, which was in the week 5, the contents for this lab were more confusing in my opinion. So the two areas of strength in this week was asked more questions and also prepared more examples. However, there are two areas of improvements as well, which were coping skills and preparedness. So I feel like when things weren't going in the direction that I wanted, I slightly panicked, and that influenced my delivery in terms of giving a speech in front of everyone. And also in terms of preparedness, some technical issues occurred and I rushed through the contents and ended up letting my students out 20 minutes early. So I definitely think that I could get better in that sense. And most of all, I was gonna try to get fully used to the techniques, which is the projector in the room. So I always had a hard time setting them up and really needed to get better at that. And in addition, I was gonna practice my presentation prior to the actual class even more so that I could cope with unexpected events better during the class. In week 7, my goal was to figure out what some strengths of my students are and hopefully use them to improve the experience in my lab section. And I realized that my students were good at interacting in a small size of group. However, when it comes to a whole class discussion, they had a hard time opening up to each other and speaking out. So I tried to put them into small groups instead of talking to the whole class and did some group activities, and I think they enjoyed it, and at the end of the class I could see that they opened up to each other a little bit more. So the two areas of strength in relation to my goal for week 7 were definitely communication and interaction, not just in between the students but in between the students and me. And two areas of improvements in week 7 was definitely class time, because again I ended up letting them leave a little bit earlier than I was supposed to, so I definitely think that I could work on that. And other than that, I didn't really have any improvements in this week. And after week 7, I started feeling a lot closer to my students in the class, so I was gonna come up with more group work so that they could get closer to their classmates and also to me even more. In week 8, we did not have a lab session because of the exam, but I still wanted to facilitate my sessions interactions, especially between me and my students, so I tried to reach out to them with some of the study tips. So I sent an email for them, and not exactly about the exam, but I sent them a reminder that we did not have a lab that week, and with a little bit of encouragement for the exam. And I really hoped that it positively influenced my students, because I really wanted them to feel more comfortable asking me questions or sending me emails just in general. So the areas of strength of this week was that I encouraged my students, although it was not always easy to reach out to them outside of the class. And the two areas of improvement were definitely, even though I tried to keep in touch with them, I felt like I could have done better. Also, for the midterm, I took care of the exam review, and the content was provided by the instructor and one of the LEs, and I created and presented the slides. I thought it went pretty well, but I received some feedback from the students where they wanted more explanation about the topics, so maybe with some more real life examples. So I would like to improve that part if I have another opportunity. And in week 9, my goal was having my students create group and work on the worksheet together. So to keep issues of equity, I was going to make sure that everyone in my class was included in the groups and felt comfortable enough to talk to me if there were any issues. And I was successful in creating groups, but I could still see a little bit of awkwardness within the groups at first. But overall, I used the whole 50 minutes, which I started and ended right on time. So I think I was really good at time management this week. But as the semester passes by, I also become more and more confident in giving a speech in front of my class, which is probably because I get more comfortable in front of them. So I was happy that I got better because this week's contents, which were classical and operant conditioning, were difficult to understand, but I could still provide my students with clear explanation. And two areas of improvements of this week was that I could not give my students a good amount of time to solve the practice problems by themselves, and there was definitely an awkwardness among my students when it comes to creating group by themselves. And so I understand that it is my job as a learning assistant to break the ice for them, but I'm still getting there. So I didn't write anything down for week 10 yet, but I had my lab section on Tuesday, and my goal for this week was asking more questions to my students and then listening carefully to those answers. And I think my plan went really well because I was able to ask them with the questions regarding of the class materials to my students, and they answered really well compared to the past classes. So my two areas of strength in this week would be definitely an interaction between me and my students, and also the explanation, because the the class material that we were provided with by our main instructor was not really long enough for this week. So I added the slides about amnesia that we learned in the lecture, and I also added the example videos so that I could help out with more clear explanation and understanding in that concept. So those will be my two areas of strength for this week, and two areas of improvement was definitely a presentation skills, because although I got more confident and more comfortable speaking in front of my students, I still get nervous, and because of that I tend to mumble a lot. So I definitely think that I still can improve it even more. And other than that, I think everything went really well this week. So yeah, that's it for the second summary reflection. Thanks for listening, and I'm sorry about the technical issue that I didn't have my face in the video. I really wanted to. I tried twice, but it just didn't work. So hopefully this one works, please. If not, I might have to take it again, but we'll see. Thank you guys. Bye.